The cleric Eleazar is talking to a shady clergyman about the local drug problem when he thinks to ask about a missing girl, but the clergyman claims that he's never seen her. So he gets the bright idea to roll an insight check, and this is where the problem begins. Welcome to the Insight Paradox. To me, this is one of those classic D&D arguments, the bluff check versus the insight check, how the insight check actually works. The problem is that the information you give to your players can be really metagamey, and I'll explain to you how. So you're going to start with a set DC, which is usually going to be rolled as a bluff from the NPC that they're trying to gain insight on. So you're going to have a player rolling the 20-sided die, and the two possible outcomes are going to be a success or a failure. I'll start off by talking about the player rolling a failure, because literally nothing happens at that point. There's no problem with it because they roll, they fail, nothing happens, nobody cares. The problem starts to arise when the player rolls a success on their insight and you have to decide what information to give them. Because if you tell them that the NPC was lying in the case of them trying to suss out a lie, then they're doing something that's impossible, because that's not a real thing. You can't just look at a person who's lying and know for a fact that they're lying. So when I talk to people online about this, which I have, I've made Facebook posts about it, I'm pretty sure I've made Reddit posts about it, you usually come up with two solutions, and the first one is handling a player success by giving the player visual cues like sweat on their forehead, which you wouldn't get from this silver mask dude here. So maybe he's being dodgy, he's not facing the character when he talks, he's stuttering a lot, things that would be typical tells of a lying person. But the problem with that is telling the player that the person is acting like they're lying is the same as telling them that they're lying, and the player is going to take it as a successful sussing out of a lie. They're going to know that the person is lying, which is, as I said before, a problem, a metagamey problem, really. So then you come to the second most common way that people decide to get around this, which is to have the DM secretly roll insight checks. I've seen it done for perception checks too, so maybe it's just a wisdom situation, common occurrence. But there's a big problem with this, and that's that it leaves the player ambiguous to what they rolled. So, you can kind of handle the problem both from a success and a failure standpoint. The problem is going to be that if the player rolls successfully and you give them the information, they're not going to know that the information they're gathering is from a successful or unsuccessful roll, so they don't know whether you're bluffing them at this point. It's all ambiguous and messy, and it doesn't make any sense to anybody, and it doesn't get anybody anywhere. So if the conclusion that you come to is that the only non-problematic outcome is that players fail on their roll, then what you have is a problematically bad skill. There are minorly good solutions to it. Obviously, you can't just take the skill out of the game, so you kind of just have to pick what's best, and for me that's been giving little tiny hints or clues and never outright telling you this person is lying. But if you guys have a better solution to it, let me know. If you want to call me a big dumb idiot and tell me the obviously good solution to what I'm calling the insight paradox, feel free. Let me know in the comments, and if you liked it, go ahead and like it, and maybe sub.